Hello there YouTube, my name is Chuggy and today I am playing some Battlefield 3, playing some Team Deathmatch on Caspian Border. And today guys, this is question time part 13. Today guys, I'm giving my god honest answers to your great questions from the previous question time. If you've never seen this video, or this series of videos before, that is exactly what this is. You guys, great subscribers, viewers, everything else, have left me some cracking questions in the previous video, and today I'll be answering those questions. Now, unfortunately, due to time, I won't be able to answer everything. I'll be explaining why in a moment. But basically, guys, if you want me to answer a question in the next question time video, all you need to do is leave your question as a comment down below in the comment section. And, well, hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to answer it next question time. Now, unfortunately, due to time, and I'll be explaining this whole time thing in a moment, I've got loads of great questions. Unfortunately, I won't be able to answer them all in this video. So what I'm going to do is answer in the comments of the previous video as much as I can, answering the questions there which I don't get to. So my apologies there. But as I'm about to explain, wow, do you take internet speed for granted when you've got it? So first of all, a little bit about the gameplay. Obviously, Team Deathmatch, I've mentioned that. Today I'm using the L86A2 LSW, or the Long Silly Weapon. This is a British light machine gun. Although really it's just a longer barrel version of the L85, but never mind. I adore this thing, and this is at the request of someone, although unfortunately I couldn't find your name, so my apologies for that. I hope you enjoy the gameplay. Anyway, with that being said, one brief clarification from the last question time video, and this is about DLC weapons. Because of all the hubbub of premium and everything else, it mentioned 20 new weapons, but it wasn't clear if it's the 20 we've already had from Back to Carcand and Close Quarters, or if there are going to be an additional 20. Now it looks like it will be an additional 20. In some artwork and imagery on the website somewhere, being, I think it was Battlelog, or the actual Battlefield website, it does say that there are new weapons with Aftermath and Endgame. So I think that's where those extra 20 have come from. It wasn't clear at the time, certainly I'd seen that, verified it, so I think that's what we'll be getting. So nice clarification there. Anyway, without further ado, let me get to some of your great questions. So question 1 this week is from Motorsports Midget 31, and they ask, how long does it take me to upload a 50-minute video? Well, and I kid you not, 10 minutes. At university. At university halls, yeah, 30 megabytes download, 30 megabytes upload, amazingly fast, as you can probably expect. Now that I'm at home, I'm uploading at 1 megabyte and downloading at 10, which actually for a UK just copper fibre line is pretty damn decent. You can get faster with fibre. But yeah, it takes me a while. So basically, this 20-minute odd video will take me about 2 hours to upload. So, yeah, for that reason, yeah, I can't be sort of sat without internet for 2 hours as this thing uploads, because it will hog everything. So yeah, time is going to be a factor now, which sucks. But yeah, it's amazing what fast internet is like, and I miss it now, I'll say that much. It's quite nice to go onto YouTube and have a video already fully streamed and buffered up before you even start watching the damn thing. So yeah, it was 10 minutes, now 2 hours. Or no, it'll be, well, for 50 minutes it'll be closer to 4 hours, maybe 5. So yeah, there we go. That answers that. Thank you, Motorsport Midget, for that question. The next question comes from Chip Off the Block 99, and they ask, in the next generation of consoles, you know, talking PS4, Xbox 720, what would I like to see? Well, to be honest, what consoles really need is more memory, more RAM, because RAM is the real limiting factor for consoles these days. Now, given that processors and graphical processing units will be just better as time has advanced, Moore's Law, if you're aware of that, things getting quicker over time, with more transistors and whatnot, that's a given. We'll have more faster, fancier processors and whatnot, but RAM is going to be the real bottleneck here. Now, I believe I'm right in saying that the PS3 and Xbox 720, PS3 and the Xbox 360 even, have 512 megabytes of RAM in them. And it's not all, you know, just one big thing, it's split up into various places for various functions. Now, that might sound, as a number, fine, but when you think about most laptops and computers these days come with 4 gigabytes, which is, well, 256 megabytes, 16 times the size, you kind of go, ah, okay. So yeah, I'm expecting next generation of consoles to have a massive upgrade in the RAM department, possibly 8-10 gigabytes, and developers will be able to do more with that, because the thing with consoles is that things need to be really, really optimized to get them to work properly, and that's part of the advantage of a console, I would say. But yeah, RAM is really slowing us down at the minute, so new consoles, more memory I expect is what we would see. So yes, I'd say that much. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Chip Off the Block. Next question comes from 4 Days, and they ask 2 great questions. So first of all, given that E3 has happened, what impressed me? What am I looking forward to? And as a second question, what do I think of Tomb Raider and Splinter Cell? Well, the game which really blew me out the water at E3, and I think a lot of people as well, was Watch Dogs. From an actual technical standpoint and everything else, all the stuff in that video is doable today. And it's a very scary prospect. And other games have mentioned or touched on this. Metal Gear Solid has touched on this. Plenty of others have in the past as well. It looks really damn awesome. Science fiction-y, Deus Ex-y in terms of what could potentially happen. Me gusta is all I can say to that. That dropped my jaw to the floor. Now, as for Tomb Raider and the Splinter Cell game, well, I'll define Tomb Raider like this, and I think a lot of people did. Uncharted. Now, that isn't a bad thing, because Uncharted is an amazing game, but it's a bit eerie how similar they seem to be. So yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one. And the Splinter Cell confused me further, actually, I would say. So my knowledge of Splinter Cell, I haven't played any of the games, is it's meant to be stealthy. You take your shots, everything else. It does seem to me in the gameplay that there's just shoot everyone for the hell of it. So I was a bit confused by that. I don't know if it's a change of direction or what, but yeah, what I will say, Watch Dogs, incredible. Tomb Raider looks good, but looks perhaps a bit too samey to Uncharted. Might be a hindrance or a help, who knows. And Splinter Cell, confusing. I'll say that much. Anyway, 4 Days, thank you for that question. Next question comes from IBZia, and they say, first of all, I'm a boss, thank you very much, sir. Their question is, do you love me? Well, that's a really interesting question, because love, you might think of it in one ways, but different cultures define love in different ways. For example, the Greeks had 7 forms of love. Now, there's like love of family, love of friends, etc. So, define love would be my question to you, sir. So there you go. Thank you for that. There's a bit of a one outside the box. I like it. Thank you for that, IBZ. Next question comes from, questions come from PPK909, and they ask, first of all, Schumacher, and I'm guessing what my opinion of Michael Schumacher, the Formula 1 driver. Hell of a driver. Is first of all, 7 titles, unprecedented records to his name. I think that says enough. He's a hell of a driver. Having said that, though, my personal impression of him pre his comeback was he's the devil. I didn't like the way he drove. He seemed very arrogant, and the thing which really got me was 94, I believe it was, when he knocked Damon Hill off at Adelaide. So Schumacher would win the championship, Hill wouldn't. That just kind of defined, he would do everything to make sure he won, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure about that. Then you had the Ferrari team orders stuff going on with Rubens. Yeah, I was a bit not so sure about that. However, since his comeback with Mercedes, weirdly I've been rooting for him incredibly, which I never thought I would ever do. And I think it's purely because he's now having to, well, he's realised that he had a very, very good car and he's having to really work. And the Valencia podium he got last race, I could not be happier for him. Because he really is working hard, you can tell. And he's being beaten by other drivers. And this is the thing with Formula 1. You're only as good as the car you've got. I mean, Sebastian Vettel, for example, one hell of a driver. But if he could repeat the performance he put in at Valencia, other than the retirement, in, say, like a Lotus or something, I would have masses of respect. I think because the car is so good that people think less of him. So, Schumacher, hell of a driver. I don't like things he's done in the past, but certainly the way he's approaching things now sits well with me. So, yay Schumacher there. PPK909's next question, this is echoed by several of you, is, am I looking forward to Medal of Honor Warfighter? And the answer to that is absolutely. So I did like the reboot, if you will, of Medal of Honor. I thought it was a great sort of, starting point to build up the series from, obviously moving from World War II to modern day. I thought it was very, very good. It had its issues, but they can be worked out in sequels. And from what I've seen, it looks great. In fact, in my opinion, I think Black Ops 2 looks better. I think Warfighter looks better than Black Ops 2. There we go. Freudian slip. Yeah, I genuinely think that Warfighter is going to bring it to Black Ops. It might not sell as many, but graphically, certainly compared to the previous game, looks a lot nicer. The multiplayer, obviously, you'd be playing as nations. I'll be the SES. Get in. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it. I've pre-ordered it. I'm quite happy about that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So that answers those. So thank you for those questions, guys. Next question comes from Tom Smith 95, and they ask, what, in my opinion, is the best overtake ever to have happened in Formula 1? And in this case, actually, I would agree with Tom's overtake, which is a overtake which happened between Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen at Spa, year 2000, Kemmel straight, 200 miles an hour, using a back marker as leverage. It's incredible. Can't really be described. I'll put a annotation on screen now if you want to go and have a look at it. A hell of an overtake, 200 miles an hour, wheel to wheel, just, you know, cojones. Yeah, hell of an overtake, I would agree. That's certainly my favourite as well. And who's my current favourite Formula 1 driver? Well, this one's going to surprise you, but it's actually Heikki Kovalainen. You want to know why? I think he's doing one of the best jobs out in the field. Then, you know, he's up there doing the great work like, say, Sebastian Vettel would be, winning races and all the rest. He might not be on the podium, but he is helping Caterham progress at a hell of a rate. And he's putting in good, solid performances and everything else. It's helping Caterham work out where they are, relatively speaking. And in fact, if you talk to most team bosses and things at the end of last season, they would have said the same. That, you know, thanks to Heikki's work, Caterham are starting to advance. Now, by the sounds of things, Caterham are bringing a big upgrades package to Silverstone for the next race, which is always awesome, and they genuinely are making progress to get into the midfield of the Formula 1 teams, and, well, the midfield this year seems to be up and with the front runners, so yeah, I think Heikki Kovalainen is my current favourite, purely because he's doing so much good work, but he isn't really being noticed for it. So, Kovalainen by a mile. Excuse the pun. Thank you for those questions. Next question comes from M. Van Reyna 7, and they ask, have I ever been to Austria? Unfortunately not. It looks like a lovely place, but you want to know something? Once I get settled down with a job and everything else and get some holiday time, there's a lot of travelling I want to do. I want to go to Asia, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to the States again. I've had a few questions about the US, so I'll come to those in a minute. But yeah, there's plenty of places I want to go, and definitely Austria is one with the, well, frankly, stunning scenery and everything else, and the history and culture. So yeah, that's awesome. And their second question is, what do I think about foreign subscribers? Well, you want to know something? I don't really see the need to classify people into domestic or foreign subscribers, you know? As far as I see it, the internet is, like, if you will, a global community, and everyone is a member. I deem everyone as equal, so I don't really think of, oh, look, just because they aren't on the same nationality to mean that they're foreign. No, everyone is the same on the internet, and I think that's the way it should be. No ruling nations or anything like that. No net neutrality or anything like that. Everyone should be equal, get the same preferences or rights and all the rest. So I see everyone as equal. I don't mind if you are not an English speaker. I don't mind if you're not English. I don't really mind at all. I mean, everyone is equal in my eyes. I'll say that much. Thank you for those questions. And your English is perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Next question comes from Giga Goblin, and they ask, do I find that the new premium knife, the ACB 90, is any better than the previous knife? Or is it just a retexture? I'm pretty sure it's just a retexture. It's a badass retexture, I'll say that much. It looks, although it does look like a craft knife, it looks like a nasty craft knife. But yeah, it's got the exact same functionality, reach, there's no advantages there, no pay to win or anything like that. Yeah, it's just the same old, it's just a retexture, but it's a neat little retexture, and it's just, again, something, to try and give Premium a bit of value. I will say this much, I would like to change back to the old knife every now and then, though, just for old time's sake, but never mind, that's a digression. But yeah, I think it's pretty much just the same, so thank you for that. Next question comes from Albascott21, and I actually have one piece of feedback which we'll be getting to in a moment as well. So basically, in a previous question time video, I mentioned that the reasons I wouldn't buy an Xbox is because you have to pay for online with Xbox Live. And their question is, well, how come you've bought Battlefield Premium then? Because surely, that's a similar deal. In fact, although you wouldn't be able to tell from any of the gameplays on the PlayStation Plus subscriber as well. And that would come into this as well. Well, how can I justify that? Well, the reason I can justify that is that you don't need to buy these two things, if you get what I mean. You can play Battlefield 3 as a non-premium player and still play it. You could use the PlayStation Network without being a PlayStation Plus subscriber and still use it, etc. The thing with Xbox Live is, you buy your console, you put out your fee and everything else, and then you have to pay an additional fee annually to use functions of the console, which you've already paid for. That doesn't sit right with me, personally. If Xbox Live went free, I would be buying an Xbox as soon as I can. But since it's still a paid-for service, I'm not particularly interested. I'll put it frankly like that. I won't play likes of MMOs like World of Warcraft or anything for the same reason, because you've got to pay once you've paid your initial purchase price, let's say, and that don't sit right with me, in short. So I'll say that much. Hopefully that answers that. Now for the piece of feedback, Albert Scott's piece of feedback was to put in the description sort of time marks for each question, and I will do that. So thank you for that great piece of feedback, much appreciated, and hopefully that will help you guys as well. Now, the next question comes from Ryan Fisher, and they ask a question about weapon selection and usage per map. Basically on the lines of, say, you're playing a larger map, therefore you should play a kit with more long-range weapons, say. Well, let me tell you that when you go to play a game of Battlefield or anything at all, really, you've got to bear in mind two things, especially in Battlefield. First of all, what the current situation is in terms of what's going on on the field of battle, but also what works for you. So the thing is, you may be the world's best sniper, but if you're playing on Grand Bazaar, you've only got like 1 or 2 real lines of sight where you'll actually see people. There's no point you being a rifleman. You may as well grab an SMG or another kit altogether. Likewise, say you're playing on Caspian Border and the enemy are destroying you with vehicles. Respawn as an engineer, use those swords, javelins, whatever it may be, against those vehicles. Try and get your team an advantage. The thing to bear in mind when you play Battlefield is if you want, you know, crazy high points, MVPs, all the rest, the guys who do that by either playing a single kit very well or playing multi-role and realising the time to switch around. Now I kind of do a bit of both depending on what the heck I'm feeling like, but you know, I have been known to play every single kit in the course of one game just because the situation warranted it. So really, don't feel like you've got to play a certain kit or a certain weapon just because it's a certain map. Stick to the areas you know your weapon will be good at and everything else, and you'll be fine. Trust me on that. It's just a case of trying to understand where you are best, first of all, that map knowledge, but also reading the battlefield, seeing what's going on, putting yourself in the situations where you're at the advantage. And that's what we really got to look out for, and that will take you a long way. And I hope that helps you anyway with your question, Ryan. Thank you for that. Next question comes from Fallout Man 112, and well, actually they ask, would it perhaps be a good idea to have aircraft circling some maps and you can sort of spawn in them and parachute in? Well, with Armoured Kill and the AC-130s, we've got that, so somewhat future confirmed. Huzzah! But as sort of an unrelated tangent, am I excited for the Olympics? You want to know something? I was when it was all announced, but that's probably because I was still, you know, relatively young. I was in secondary school. In fact, I remember it was in a geography lesson when I found out that we'd won the Olympics and everyone went mad. But anyway, yeah, I was hyped then. To be honest, I think perhaps the novelty's worn off a bit. So don't get me wrong, I'll probably be watching the Olympics on television and everything. But yeah, it's a neat event. Don't get me wrong. Probably won't see it again in my lifetime here, but I won't be going to any of the events or anything like that. Yeah, I just hope that everyone has a good Olympics, everyone plays fair and everything else, and it all goes off without a hitch. So yeah, I'll be watching, but am I excited for it, hyped for it? Not sure, to be honest. I think that's that. So thank you for that, man, for that question. Next question is a great one, and it comes from Sniper 6354, and they ask, what do I think of Battlefield Premium? And basically, Sniper's sort of point is, well, it's premium, pushing premium everywhere. You know, you don't want to look like a bit of a douche because you're a premium player. I completely get your angle. I personally think that perhaps premium is being pushed a bit too much in game. You know, premium player, you have to be premium. Look at this premium server for premium players with premium player skill. I just don't buy that stuff. It's just marketing crap. Buy premium if you think it's going to be worth it. The reason I've got it is that I want the DLC. It works out cheaper if I buy premium. I get some nice extra goodies as a bonus. Huzzah! That's why I've bought it. Yeah, okay, it's pushing premium a lot in game, but that's just something you've got to work with. Don't feel like a douchebag or anything because you've bought it. I certainly don't. And the thing is, pretty much everyone's a premium anyway, so there's no real, or at least most people I've been fighting anyway, that have been premium players. So don't feel like you'll be, you know, the only person out there. By all means, no, there's lots of premium players out there, so don't worry about that. I personally think it's very much worth it, so I hope that helps you. And thank you for that question. Next question comes from Microcat M14EBR, and they ask, have I ever been to the United States, and if so, what's my unbiased opinion? I have been to the US, obviously, since Canada's got sort of a border. I've been across the border a few times, been to Vermont, nice place, again, New York, nice place. What I'd say about the United States is the people, you could not find nicer people anywhere. Very welcoming, you know, want to know how you're doing, everything else, treat you well, but you know, that's at like a people level. The issue I have with the US these days is more at like an international level, where I think the US perhaps thinks that it's still, you know, the global superpower. Unfortunately, with economics and everything else, times are changing. You might not have heard of them, but the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, these guys are going to be, you know, making a serious world impact very shortly. And unfortunately, much like the British had to do when they gave up the empire after the First World War, I think the US are just going to have to go, okay, our time has passed, but let's be a member of this international community. So, my view on the United States, great country, filled with brilliant people, but perhaps at an international level just need to calm down a bit. That's my opinion there. Hopefully that's alright. So yeah, thank you for that question, Microcat. Next question, as I'm running out of time, so I'll try and get through these as quickly as possible, comes from Ginger Ninja 226, and they ask what's my opinion of the new assignments. I've mentioned this before. I think that they're perhaps a bit too self-centered rather than they should be a bit more team-focused, but other than that, and they don't particularly help people PTFO. There are a few which kind of, you know, help team rules, but not much anyway. I'll digress. Thank you for that. Next question comes from TCG Forever, and they ask, out of the two DLCs we've had too far, Back to Karkan and Close Quarters, if I could only buy one, which would I, or play one, which would I play or buy? I'll have to be Back to Karkan purely because L86, I love that thing, and that only comes with Back to Karkan, so I'll say that. Next question comes from Zach Volkdorf, and they ask, have I been to anywhere else in Canada other than Montreal? I've been to Toronto, but only the airport. To be honest, my family's been in Montreal. I haven't really had a chance to go anywhere else. But again, I want to travel. I want to go to Vancouver, for example. British Columbia looks beautiful. Plenty of places I want to go. So yep, that's that. Thank you for that. So really, the answer is Toronto. It doesn't really count the airport, but I'll be planning to go other places shortly. Next question comes from AngryBird10. They asked, do you think that most people have come across dubstep and drum and bass, and they basically only exclusively listen to the likes of Skrillex, say? Yeah, there are people like that, but then again, there are also people who listen to other things. I came into dubstep, for example, thanks to Skrillex, but now I'm starting to expand out. Like, for example, I'm listening to a lot of stuff done by a guy called Scream. He's amazing. Yeah, you know, just depends how people interested are in the music. I mean, Skrillex does very good stuff, so why not stick with him, I say. But thank you for that. Next question comes from Reaper's Bane, and they ask, since I've visited Canada several times, have I ever been to the US? I've already answered that one. And other countries I've been to, well, I've been to France, Germany, Czech Republic, I'll be going to Belgium shortly, Wales, been to the US, been to Canada. Where else have I been? Can't think of any others off the top of my head. I'll have to leave it at that for now since we're running out of time. What's my opinion on CCTV? To be honest, I've got nothing to hide, so I have no problem with it being there, although I do know people who are a bit, CCTV. But you know, one of those something, I've got no problem with it being there. Some people do, I can understand why. I don't mind it personally. I've got nothing to hide, that's all I can really say. And I think I'm going to have to wrap this up very quickly. What's my this question comes from Arkan's Razor. What's my ideas or thoughts about people being able to buy all the weapons straight away as a bit of like DLC? I don't particularly like it, but you want to know something? If you've worked and earned all the weapons in-game, I think you'll be better suited than someone who has just bought them straight off, just on the grounds of you'll have more experience with more of the weapons. So instead of having everything at once, you actually know what works for you and what doesn't, so I'll say that much. So yeah, it kind of sucks that you can do it, but I still think they're at a disadvantage anyway. Next question comes from Flippy Floppy Fail, Galaxy or Dairy Milk, Galaxy by a mile. Social Actual asks, am I a fan of Doctor Who, and if so, who's my favourite Doctor and favourite companion? I am. I haven't watched much Doctor Who recently. Favourite Doctor, to be brief, is David Tennant. Favourite companion is Billie Piper's character. I think it's called Belle. Can't remember, it was a while ago. But there we go. And let me just see here. I've got a few more questions. I'll say this sucks about the upload time, but this is what I've got to work with. Let's say iGreatCacher asks, which classic map from a previous Battlefield game would you like to see brought back? You mentioned Backstab from Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. Great choice. Personally, mine would be Bridge Too Far from Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. A symmetrical map, but amazing at the same time. And let's have a look here. What degree am I studying? What have I been studying at university? I was studying computer science, and this is actually a great way to round off question time this week. I have graduated with a 2-1, and I cannot be happier, and I've got to say a massive thank you to every single one of you guys, because if it wasn't for you guys, your great feedback, your great comments, everything else, keeping me going the last few months, I definitely would not have got a 2-1. So basically, guys, a massive thank you from me for support, watching the videos, everything else. I've got a degree, I can move on, I can get a job and everything else, which is great. But yeah, a massive achievement, and partially down to you guys. So basically, thank you very much for all your great support. It really does mean a lot. So guys, unfortunately that's question time. I've run out of time, and well, I've already had to put a freeze frame in, I'm guessing, by this point, since I've overrun. But basically, guys, as always, thank you so very much for watching and all your great comments and questions, everything else. If you have a question you'd like me to answer next time, please do leave it down in the comments below. I'll try and get around to answering the rest of these as text in a moment. But yeah, guys, as always, thank you so very much for watching. If you could leave a like, dislike, whatever you believe this video deserves, that'd be fantastic. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me, please do leave them down in the comments below. And if you're new to my videos, you can always subscribe. So guys, I've been Chuggy. I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay and the commentary, and I'll see you next time, out on the battlefield.